Welcome back, everybody. These are the films, the movies that we loved of 1949. I'm Tony. You're watching Yesteryear, and today, let's check out the movies that we love, the best movies of 1949. A Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court. Comedy, family, and fantasy. A singing mechanic from 1912 finds himself in Arthurian Britain, featuring the legendary Bing Crosby. Who doesn't love Bing Crosby? We love Bing Crosby. A Letter to Three Wives. Comedy, drama, and romance. A letter is addressed to three wives from their best friend, Eddie Rose, announcing that she is running away with one of her husbands. Comedy, drama, and romance. A Letter to Three Wives. You can't go wrong with this comedy. Bud Abbott and Lou Costello meet the killer, Boris Karloff. This is exquisite. Every Bud Abbott and Lou Costello film is the best. Two employees of a secluded hotel investigate a murder on the premises in which the goofy bellboy is the prime suspect. Abbott and Costello meet the killer, Boris Karloff. Adam's Rib, comedy and romance. Domestic and professional tensions mount when a husband and wife work as opposing lawyers in a case involving a woman who shot her husband. Adam's Rib, Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Adventure in Baltimore, comedy, drama, and music. The liberated daughter of a 1905 minister innocently starts a scandal. Robert Young, and featuring you-know-who, Shirley Temple and John Agar. Next up we have is Bud Abbott and Lou Costello again in Africa Screams. This movie is a hit. It's a hoot. Action, adventure, and comedy. Two booksellers search for diamonds in Africa, along the way meeting a visually impaired gunner, a hungry lion, and a tribe of cannibals. Africa Screams. All the King's Men. Drama and mystery. The rise and fall of a corrupt politician who makes his friends richer and retains power by dint of a populist appeal. All the King's Men. Next up we have is The Sizzler Scorching, Always Leave Them Laughing. Ruth Roman and Burt Lair, comedy and drama. A young comic plays second-rate nightclubs and chintzy resorts in his struggle to break it into the big time. Always Leave Them Laughing, featuring Milton Berle. Angels in Disguise, featuring the Bowery Boys, comedy, crime, and drama. The Bowery Boys investigate a murder, and all the evidence points to the involvement of the notorious Loop Gang. Angels in Disguise. You can't go wrong with the Bowery Boys. Any number can play. Clark Gable and Alexis Smith. Drama and romance. Gambling house owner finds himself estranged from his wife and son. Clark Gable is awesome in Any Number Can Play. Alexis Smith, she's evil, but she's good. Battleground. Action, drama, and history. True tale about a squad of the 101st Airborne Division coping with being trapped by the Germans in the besieged city of Bastogne. Featuring Van Johnson, John Hodak, Ricardo Montalban, and George Murphy. Battleground. The Beautiful Blonde from Bashful Bend. Comedy and western. Temperamental saloon singer Freddie Jones' jealousy shoots at her cheating boyfriend Blackie, but mistakenly hits Judge Alfalfa. Betty Grable stars in The Beautiful Blonde from Bashful Bend. Beyond the Forest. Drama and romance. Resentful of her small-town life, a married woman schemes to run off with a rich businessman. Beyond the Forest. Nobody's as good as Betty Davis when she's bad. Nobody. Except me. Border Incident. Crime, drama, and mystery. Mexican and American federal agents tackle a vicious gang exploiting illegal farm workers in Southern California. Does that sound like Gavin Newsom to you? This is 2024, and they're talking about Gavin Newsom in 1949. border incident. Caught. Crime drama. An ambitious young LA department store model gets her wish of marrying a millionaire, but she eventually discovers that rich life isn't always a happy one. James Mason, Barbara Bugged, and Robert Ryan in Caught. Challenge to Lassie. Drama and family. When Lassie's master dies, an old friend tries to convince a judge that the dog's life should be spared. Challenge to Lassie. Poor Lassie. We all love Lassie. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Lassie. Champion. Kirk Douglas in Champion. Drama and sport. Boxer Midge Kelly rises to fame mainly by stepping on other people. Champion. He was the champion. Next up we have is the classic Come to the Stable, comedy and drama. Two nuns arrive unannounced in the small New England town of Bethlehem, where they recruit various townspeople to help them build a children's hospital. Loretta Young and Celeste Holm in Come to the Stable. This movie is beautiful. It was awesome. Command Decision. Clark Gable, Walter Pidgeon, Van Johnson, and Brian Donlevy. Army generals struggle with the decision to prioritize bombing the German factories, producing new jet fighters, over the extremely high casualties the mission will cost. Command Decision. Crisscross. Burt Lancaster, Yvonne DiCarlo, and Dan Durea. Crime and drama. An armored truck driver and his ex-wife conspire with a gang to have his own truck robbed on the route. Crisscross. Next up we have is the wonderful drama and crime thriller DOA, Dead on Arrival. Frank Bigelow, told he's been poisoned and has only a few days to live, tries to find out who killed him and why. Dead on Arrival. A picture as excitingly different as its title. Dead on Arrival. Dick Barton Strikes Back. Special Agent Dick Barton uncovers a ring of international psychopathic criminals with plans to dominate the world using a terrifying weapon of mass destruction. Dick Barton Strikes Back. We love Dick Barton. And you will too. Down to the sea in ships. Whaling ship Captain Bering Joy takes his grandson Jed on a whaling trip to teach him core life values, while the first mate Dan Lunsford is tasked with tutoring Jed. Down to the sea in ships. Action, adventure, and drama. Family honeymoon, comedy, musical, and romance. A bachelor marries a widow, and her 3 kids join the honeymoon. Claudette Colbert and Fred MacMurray. Family honeymoon. You'll love Fred MacMurray. This next film is an awesome film called Father Was a Fullback, featuring, you know who, Jim Backus. Football coach George Cooper has many problems managing his football team, as he has at home dealing with his daughter, Ellen and Connie. Fred MacMurray, Maureen O'Hara, and Jim Backus. Father Was a Fullback. Fighting Man of the Plains. Former bandit Jim Dancer becomes marshal of a Kansas town and cleans up the criminal element with help from an old pal, Jesse James. Fighting Man of the Plains, featuring Randolph Scott. Don't forget, Randolph Scott was the boyfriend of Cary Grant. Fighting Fools, featuring the Bowery Boys. The gang teams up with a fighter to break up a fight-fixing racket. Drama and comedy. I have all the Bowery Boys, the East Side Kid films, and I can watch them anytime. It's just awesome. Those were the original teen movies of the 30s and 40s. The Fountainhead. Drama and romance. An uncompromising visionary architect struggles to maintain his integrity and individualism despite personal, professional, and economic pressure to conform to popular standards. Gary Cooper and Patricia Neal, Fountainhead. Gun Crazy. Crime, drama, and film noir. 2 disturbed young people release their fascination with guns through a crime spree. Gun Crazy. You'll love it. Next up we have is the classic film Hold That Baby with Leo Gorcey and the Bowery Boys. Drama and comedy. The boys find a baby amid the bundles in their newly laundry business. The heir to a fortune left in their care in his mother's desperate attempts to stave off conniving relatives. Hold That Baby. You'll love the Bowery Boys. Holiday Affair. Comedy, drama, and family. A young widow is torn between a boring attorney and a romantic near-to-do-well. Baby, you're just what I want for Christmas. Robert Mitchum, Janet Leigh, and Wendell Corey. Next up we have is House of Strangers, crime drama. After years in prison, Max promises revenge on his brothers for their betrayal. His lover Irene and memories of his past yield him a broader perspective. Edward G. Robinson, Susan Hayward, and Richard Conte star in House of Strangers. I Was a Male War Bride featuring Cary Grant. Comedy, romance, and war. Also features Anne Sheridan. After marrying an American lieutenant with whom he was assigned to work in post-war Germany, a French captain attempts to find a way to accompany her back to the States under new terms. The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, animation, comedy, and family. An animated adaptation of The Wind and the Willows, followed by an adaptation of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Impact. Crime, drama, and mystery. An unfaithful wife plots with her lover to kill her husband, but the lover is accidentally killed instead. The husband stays in hiding and lets his wife be charged with conspiracy. Impact. You'll love Impact. Crime, drama, and mystery. The Inspector General. Comedy, musical, and romance. Featuring Danny Kaye. A town's corrupt official thinks a fool is actually an investigator in disguise. Danny Kaye was brilliant in The Inspector General. You'll love Danny Kaye. He was a very top comedic actor back in the day. In the Good Old Summertime. Comedy, musical, and romance. In turn-of-the-century America, Andrew and Veronica are co-workers in a music shop who dislike one another during business hours, but unwittingly carry on an anonymous romance through the mail. In the Good Old Summertime. It happens every spring. A scientist discovers a formula that makes a baseball which is repelled by wood. He promptly sets out to exploit his discovery. Comedy, family, and sci-fi. It happens every spring. Next up we have is a great comedy. It's a Great Feeling. A waitress at the Warner Brothers commissary is anxious to break into pictures. She thinks her big break may have arrived when two actors agree to help her. It's a Great Feeling. John Loves Mary. Comedy. A GI marries the English girlfriend of his best friend to get her into the U.S. for his friend, who lost track of her in the war, only to find on returning home that he is stuck with the girl of his dreams. John Loves Mary. Johnny's Stool Pigeon. Howard Duff, Shelley Winters. Crime, drama, and mystery. U.S. Treasury agent George Morton persuades convicted criminal Johnny Evans to help him destroy a drug smuggling ring in exchange for early parole. Johnny's Stool Pigeon. Look at it, beautiful. Kind Hearts and Coronets. A distant poor relative of the Duke plots to inherit the title by murdering the 8 other heirs who stand ahead of him in the line of succession. Kind Hearts and Coronets. So this is comedy and crime. Knock on Any Door. Featuring Humphrey Bogart. Crime, drama, and mystery. An attorney defends a hoodlum of murder, using the oppressiveness of the slums to appeal to the courts. Humphrey Bogart is exquisite in this film. Knock on Any Door. You'll love Humphrey Bogart. Bicycle Thieves. In post-war Italy, a working-class man's bicycle is stolen, endangering his efforts to find work. He and his son set out to find it. Bicycle Thieves. Original title, Ladri de Bicyclette. Next up we have is one of the best films, Little Women. The four daughters of a New England family fight for happiness during and after the Civil War. Drama, family, and romance. Little Woman, a must in anyone's collection and a must watch for every film fan. Love Happy, featuring the Marx Brothers. The Marx Brothers helped young Broadway hopefuls with thwarting diamond thieves. The Marx Brothers. This is pretty much at the end of their film run, but they're still fun to watch. Love Happy. Lust for Gold, romance and western. Fortune seeker Barry Storm stumbles onto some clues that may lead him to the fabulous Lost Dutchman mine, but others have tried and been murdered. Lust for Gold. Glenn Ford and Ida Lupino. Ma and Pa Kettle, comedy. On the verge of being evicted from their rundown farmhouse, the large Kettle family is given a new modern home after Pa wins a contest, but he is accused of plagiarizing his winning slogan. Ma and Pa Kettle. Next up we have is Madame Bovary, drama and romance. A provincial doctor's wife, romantic illusions about life and social status lead her to betray her naive husband, take on lovers, and run up ruinous debt. Madame Bovary, Jennifer Jones, Van Heflin, and Louis Jordan. Malaysia, newspaperman Royer convinces government officials of a plan to obtain rubber by smuggling it out from under the Japanese. Adventure, drama, and war. Malaya. Next up we have is Mastermind, featuring Leo Gorski and the Bowery Boys. Comedy, family, and horror. Candy on a toothache turns Satch into a prognosticator, which attracts the attention of an exploitive slip and personality-switching doctor hoping to create obedient super race. Mighty Joe Young. A young woman who has raised a giant gorilla from an infant brings him to Hollywood years later seeking her fortune. Notice the copy on King Kong? This is the Mighty Joe Young. Everybody likes Mighty Joe Young. It was a poor man's King Kong. Miss Grant Takes Richmond. A newly hired dumb secretary working for a bookie masquerading as a realtor causes unintended hilarious troubles for her employer. Miss Grant Takes Richmond, comedy and romance. Lucille Ball and William Holden, two of my favorite actors and actresses. Mother is a freshman. In order to afford her daughter's college tuition, a woman enrolls herself at the same school aided by a rare large bursary, but they both fall in love with the same cute English professor. Mother is a freshman, Loretta Young and Van Johnson. Mr. Soft Touch, Glenn Ford, Evelyn Keyes. Crime, drama, and romance. When he learns that a gangster has taken over his nightclub and murdered his partner, returning World War II hero Joe Miracle steals the money from the club safe and hides out. Mr. Soft Touch. My Friend Irma. A scatterbrained Brooklynite and her wheel dealer fiancé interfere in her level-headed roommate's love life. My Friend Irma. A lot of laughs. You will love this movie. It's a comedy, musical, and romance. My Foolish Heart, drama and romance. After being visited by an old friend, a woman recalls her true love, the man she met and lost years ago. Dana Andrews, Susan Hayward, Samuel Goldwyn's My Foolish Heart. My Dream Is Yours, animation, comedy, and musical. An agent must search for a new personality to replace a popular singer who refuses to renew his radio contract. He finds one in the form of a single mother, but complications soon occur. My Dream Is Yours. Never Fear, drama. A dancer who has just gotten engaged to her partner and choreographer and is about to embark on a major career is devastated to learn that she has contracted polio. Never Fear, drama. This movie is sad, but it's really good. It's very riveting. Neptune's Daughter. A swimsuit fashion designer is determined to protect her scatterbrained sister from a South American heartbreaker, but a case of mistaken identity complicates matters. Esther Williams and Red Skelton. Comedy, musical, and romance. Neptune's Daughter. On the Town. Comedy, musical, and romance. Three sailors wreak havoc as they search for love during a whirlwind 24-hour leave in New York City. Gene Kelly and Frank Sinatra. Betty Garrett and Ann Miller. On the Town. Streets of Laredo, drama and western. An outlaw separates from his two partners in crime after they join the Texas Rangers, and he continues to commit daring robberies. William Holden, William Bendix, McDonald Carey, and Mona Freeman. Streets of Laredo. The Great Lover, comedy, musical, and romance. On an ocean liner, an inept scoutsmaster pursues a duchess while a killer pursues him. Comedy, musical, and romance. Bob Hope and Rhonda Fleming. The Great Lover. Every Bob Hope movie is a great movie. The Red Pony, drama, family, and western. A ranch boy is gifted with a colt, grows to love him, but the colt escapes with tragic results. The Red Pony. Myrna Loy and Robert Mitchum. This movie is sad, but it's very good. It's very touching. I recommend The Red Pony. Flamingo Road. Joan Crawford. See you on Flamingo Road. A corrupt small-town sheriff manipulates local candidates to the state legislature, but he eventually comes in conflict with a visiting carnival dancer. Flamingo Road. Prince of Foxes, adventure, drama, and romance. An unscrupulous agent for the Borgias suffers a change of heart when asked to betray a noble count and his much younger, very beautiful wife. Adventure, drama, and romance. Prince of Fox. This movie is good. Check it out. Rope of Sand, action, adventure, and crime. A man abused by a sadistic mining company cop before he could tell where on their desert property he found diamonds, decides to steal them instead. Rope of Sand with Burt Lancaster and Paul Henreid. Rusty Saves a Life, drama. In small town Lawtonville, Illinois, teenage Danny Mitchell, his German Shepherd Rusty, and Danny's 5 similarly aged friends have been close companions with aging and wealthy counselor. Rusty Saves a Life. This movie is good and touching. Samson and Delilah, drama, family, and history. When strongman Samson rejects the love of the beautiful Philistine woman Delilah, she seeks vengeance that brings horrible consequences they both regret. Samson and Delilah, a true classic by Cecil B. DeMille. Sands of Iwo Jima, action, drama, war, and romance. Haunted by personal demons, Marine Sergeant John Stryker is hated and feared by his men, who see him as cold-hearted sadist. Sands of Iwo Jima. The setup, crime, and sport. Expecting the usual loss, a boxing manager takes bribes from a betting gangster without telling his fighter. The setup. This movie is good. You want to reach out and strangle people, but it's really good. It's the setup. She wore a yellow ribbon. Captain Nathan Brittle, on the eve of retirement, takes out last patrol to stop an impending massive Indian attack. Drama and western. John Wayne, Joan Drew, John Agar, and Ben Johnson. Shock-proof, crime, drama, and thriller. A parole officer falls in love with his client, a ravishing blonde who served time for murder, and he's determined to help her go straight despite her interfering criminal boyfriend. Shock-proof, featuring Cornell Wilde. This movie is riveting and very good. Hour of Glory, also known as The Small Black Room. As the Germans drop explosive booby traps on Britain in 1943, the embittered expert will have to disarm them, fights a private battle with alcohol. The Small Back Room or Hour of Glory. Sorrowful Jones. I love Sorrowful Jones. Bob Hope and Lucille Ball are exquisite. A young girl is left with the notoriously cheap Sorrowful Jones as a marker for a bet. Her father disappears and he learns that taking care of her is tough. Sorrowful Jones, well, is a tearjerker comedy. Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Comedy, musical, and romance. Two turn-of-the-century baseball players who work in vaudeville during the off-season run into trouble with their new team's female owner. Comedy, musical, romance. Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Frank Sinatra, Esther Williams, and Gene Kelly. Take One False Step. Crime, drama, and mystery. During a conference trip to LA, an academic runs into an old flame and into trouble with the police when she disappears. Take One False Step. Next up we have is Gary Cooper in Task Force, Drama and War. As he is retiring, Jonathan Scott reminisces about his long Navy career, the development of the role of the aircraft carrier from the early 20s. Task Force. Next up we have is That Forsyte Woman, Drama and Romance. Love among the Forsytes is strange, full of tradition, melancholy, and gold digging in this film treatise on Victorian age rigidity and messages of a flawed society. Errol Flynn, Greer Garson, Walter Pidgeon, and Robert Young. That Forsyte Woman. That Midnight Kiss. Musical and romance. In Philadelphia, the soprano Prudence Boudel returns from Europe after a period of 5 years training in the best European musical school. Her millionaire grandmother, Abigail, has other plans. That Midnight Kiss. The Big Wheel. Action, drama, and romance. A brash young midget car racer driver lives in the shadow of his famous father, a drunken womanizer, who was killed in an accident years earlier. The Big Wheel, starring Mickey Rooney. I love Mickey Rooney. The Blue Lagoon. In this Victorian period, two children are shipwrecked on a tropical island in the South Pacific and fall in love while growing up together. Adventure, drama, and romance. The Blue Lagoon. Also done with Brooke Shields. And I forgot the other actor's name. The Inspector General, Danny Kaye. The town's corrupt officials think a fool is actually an investigator in disguise. The Inspector General. You can't go wrong with Danny Kaye. He is brilliant, funny, and you'll love it. Next up we have is The Passionate Friends. A woman meets a man whose love she rejected years ago. Drama and romance. Ann Todd, Claude Rains, and Trevor Howard. The Passionate Friends. This movie is a love triangle, and it's a scorcher. The Big Cat, action, adventure, and drama. In 1933, a city boy arrives in his late mother's birthplace to discover the locals have been pestered by drought, old fights, and a cougar. He turns out to be pivotal in all of these. The Big Cat. The Big Steal, crime, film noir, and romance. An army lieutenant accused of robbery pursues the real thief on a frantic chase through Mexico, aided by the thief's fiancée. The Big Steal, Robert Mitchum, Jane Greer, and William Bendix. This movie is good. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Reign of Terror, also known as The Black Book. Rosebery, a powerful figure in the French Revolution, is desperately looking for his Black Book, a death list of those marked for the guillotine. The Black Book, Reign of Terror. Next up we have is The Fan, comedy and romance. Lord Windermere appears to all, including his young wife Margaret, as the perfect husband, but their happy marriage is placed at risk after Lord Windermere starts spending his afternoons doing unsuspecting things. The Fan, starring Richard Green. The Fighting Kentuckian. In 1818 Alabama, French settlers are pitted against greedy land grabber Black Randolph, but Kentucky militiaman John Breen has other desires. The Fighting Kentuckian. The Great Sinner. Drama. A young writer goes to Wiesbaden to write about gambling and gamblers, only to ultimately become a compulsive gambler himself. Starring Gregory Peck, Ava Gardner, Melvin Douglas, Walter Houston. The Great Sinner. The Hasty Heart, featuring Ronald Reagan. In the final days of World War II, in a MASH unit in Burma, a severely wounded corporal watches in dismay as fellow soldiers pack up to return home, but a caring nurse and 5 remaining soldiers have other plans. The Hasty Heart. The Heiress. Drama and romance. A young naive woman falls for a handsome young man who her emotionally abusive father suspects is a fortune hunter. The Heiress. Olivia de Havilland is exquisite in this movie. You'll love it. The House Across the Street. Crime, comedy, and drama. Dave Jocelyn, the managing editor of a big city newspaper, is demoted and moved to the Miss Lonely Hearts column writing department by the newspaper's publisher. The House Across the Street. Comedy, crime, and drama. The Judge. Crime, drama, and film noir. A crooked lawyer blackmails a client into murder plot against his wife. Strangest story in the annals of modern crime. They killed in different ways. The Judge. Next up we have is The Lady Takes a Sailor. Comedy and romance. Jennifer Smith heads a Consumer Reports type company, and her reputation for honesty is her greatest asset. Jane Wyman and Dennis Morgan in The Lady Takes a Sailor. This is a good movie. Check it out if you haven't already seen it. Next up we have is The Reckless Moment. Crime drama. After discovering the dead body of her teenage daughter's lover, a housewife takes desperate measures to protect her family from scandal. The Reckless Moment. James Mason and Joan Bennett. This movie is a scorcher. You'll love it. The Stratton Story. James Stewart and June Allison. Biography, drama, and romance. Star Major League pitcher Monty Stratton loses a leg in a hunting accident, but becomes determined to leave the game on his own terms. The Stratton Story. The Third Man. Joseph Cotton, Malley, Orson Welles, Trevor Howard, The Third Man. Pulp novelist Holly Martin's travels to shadowy post-war Vienna, only to find himself investigating the mysterious death of an old friend, Harry Lime. The Third Man. The Walking Hills. Adventure, thriller, and western. A group of treasure hunters search for a wagon load of gold, buried years before in Death Valley. The Walking Hills. If you like western and Randolph Scott and Ella Raines, you'll love The Walking Hills. The Window. Drama and thriller. To avoid the heat of a sweltering summer night, a 9-year-old Manhattan boy decides to sleep on the fire escape and witnesses a murder, but no one will believe him. The Window. So it must be some of these lies. The Younger Brothers. Brothers who rode with the notorious outlaw gang led by Frank and Jesse James decide to go straight and try to get pardoned so that they can return to a law-abiding life. The Younger Brothers. Western. Next up we have is The Barclays of Broadway. Comedy musical. A married musical team splits up so the wife can become a serious actress. Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Together, they were an awesome duo, made tons of films together, and they both could dance their butts off. The Great Gatsby. Drama, musical, and mystery. A jazz-age bootlegger learns the hard way about the wages of sin. The Great Gatsby. Betty Field, McDonald Carey. This movie is exquisite. The File on Velma Jordan. Crime drama. Assistant District Attorney Cleve Marshall falls for the mysterious Velma Jordan when she seeks help solving robberies of her aunt's estate. Most men have known at least one Velma Jordan. The Story of Seabiscuit, drama, family, and romance. Horse trainer Sean O'Hara and his lovely niece Margaret come to America to escape the memory of an accident involving Margaret's brother Danny. Drama, family, and romance, The Story of Seabiscuit. Tokyo Joe, crime, drama, and film noir. An American returns to Tokyo to try to pick up threads of his pre-World War II life, but finds himself squeezed between criminals and the authorities. Tokyo Joe, starring Humphrey Bogart. This movie is exquisite. I recommend it. Too Late for Tears, crime, drama, and mystery. Through a fluke circumstance, a ruthless woman stumbles across a suitcase filled with $60,000 and is determined to hold on to it even if it means murder. Too Late for Tears. This movie was good. 12 O'Clock High. A hard-as-nails general, Gregory Peck, takes over a B-17 bomber unit suffering from low morale and whips them into fighting shape. 12 O'Clock High. This movie is good. Under Capricorn, crime, drama, and romance. A young gentleman goes to Australia where he reunites with his now married childhood sweetheart, only to find out she has become an alcoholic and harbors dark secrets. Under Capricorn. This is a very sad movie. The Undercover Man, crime, drama, and mystery. Treasury Department agent Frank Warren takes on the case of a mob leader who has evaded paying taxes on his ill-gotten gains, featuring Glenn Ford as the Undercover Man. This movie is riveting. You'll love it. And I love Glenn Ford. You will too. We Were Strangers, adventure drama. In 1930s Cuba, a bank clerk and an American mercenary assist a revolutionary group in a plan to kill the president, but the Cuban secret police have other ideas. We Were Strangers. This movie you should not miss. Whiskey Galore, comedy and crime. Scottish Islanders try to plunder 50,000 cases of whiskey from a stranded ship. Starring Basil Radford and Joan Greenwood. Whiskey Galore. Next up we have is the legendary film White Heat, featuring James Cagney. A psychopathic criminal with a mother complex makes a daring break from prison and leads his old gang in a chemical plant payroll heist. White Heat, action, crime, and drama. You can never go wrong with James Cagney. Next up we have is Dear Wife. Thanks to political activist teen Miriam, her brother-in-law and father find themselves rival candidates for state senator. Dear Wife. This movie is a comedy and a family movie. You will like Dear Wife. Lastly, we have his Young Man with a Horn. Kirk Douglas, Lauren Bacall, and Doris Day. A young trumpet player is torn between an honest singer and a manipulative heiress. Biography, drama, and musical. Young Man with a Horn. What do you think of the films of 1949? Do you remember any of these films? Some of these films, have you not seen? Have you seen most of them? I've seen most of these films. I love these films. I have most of these films. I love black and white movies. I love movies from the 40s. And now we just wrapped up movies of 1949. Those were the movies that we loved in 1949. Next up, we're going to be covering the decade of the 50s. 50s was another great decade, the golden age of Hollywood. We're going to cover all your favorite actors and actresses, all your favorite films, the classics, the horrors, the blockbusters, the hits and the misses. So stay tuned as we cover the movies that we love. We're starting now on to the 50s. So stay tuned for the movies that we love of the 50s coming up. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, leave them below. I'm Tony. I'm your host here at Yesteryear, and today, bringing you the best of pop culture, movies, television, your favorite actors and celebrities. We try to have fun here, and we're taking you back to memory lane, because these movies, these actors, we can never forget them. So we're going to enjoy reliving all these movies here at Yesteryear today. All right, thanks for joining me. I'll see you all in the next video. stay tuned for movies that we love in the 50s, the decade of the 50s. It's a scorcher, all right? I'll see you folks real soon. Thanks, everybody.